as kids, we painted pictures, we made drawings, we did all sorts of things that we wanted to show our parents. We wanted them to be proud of what we had created. And regardless of how ugly they turned out, usually our parents told us they looked great. They maybe even put it on the fridge. Well, I'm here to tell you that sometimes something ugly can be beautiful. Maybe not beautiful, but it can be a work of art. At least that's what I was trying for today, so let me know what you think. One of the coolest things about the tabletop gaming hobby is that everyone generally gets the same looking things, whether it's a 3D printed file, whether it's a miniature from the store, whatever you have, everyone generally gets the same of that. And then you get to make it your own. Whether you do that just by making a cool paint job, or you give your character a cool backstory that you like to tell people, or in the case of today, you do what's called kitbashing, where you take apart the miniature and you change it in ways to literally make it your own. It's kind of like taking 2 different pages from a coloring book, tearing them in half, and then taping them together and making your own unique monster or thing. And they don't always have to be ugly. I just wanted mine to be. So believe it or not, this all started out with some teeth. And from there, it went to printing all the pieces I needed for my Redemptor Dreadnought. First thing I did was mark this all down. And again, this is a 3D printed thing. It's not a kit, but you could do the same with any kit, and just kind of decide where I wanted things to go. I ultimately decided the brain wasn't going to work. I used my Dremel tool to cut the hole. And as you can see, the dust goes everywhere. So make sure you got a vacuum nearby or something to clean it up. And wear a mask. Anytime you're cutting any of this stuff, wear a mask. But once that was all done, I went and washed it out in the sink, got all of that dust cleaned up and vacuumed it away, and I started trying to figure out where I wanted to put everything. The heart I definitely wanted this thing to have a heart on it, because I thought, how cool would that be as this machine that was once piloted by a semi-human pilot, has now kind of taken on a life of its own, and it has that heart to power it. And I knew it had to have teeth. I wanted it to have this big gaping mouth. And so, I was kind of trying to make the best of what I had with what was in front of me. I had the teeth. I made the biggest hole I could just because of how the model was. I couldn't make it much bigger than it was. But I was able to use the milliput to put down the foundation for those teeth. And then I was able to put the teeth in. Ultimately, I think I did put a little more milliput on the bottom, and I did super glue them just so that they wouldn't go anywhere, but I loved how it looked. I used more milliput to make blood vessels to go from the heart to the zombie that was coming out of the top, the old pilot. And then I base coated the whole thing green. I wanted this to have kind of a Nurgle-esque feel. I know this green seems really, really bright, and it is, but in the end, once you put on everything else, it doesn't matter. So base coat it, stick to bright colors. You can always down things in the future. But I attached my tentacles. I went in and finished that base coating as well as I could with that green, and just loved how it was looking and just kind of kept going. I wanted it to look like there was flesh coming out of it. So I made these like fleshy colored, I don't even know what you would call them, holes in the machine where the tentacles of the creature inside would be coming out of. And I wanted it to be gross. I wanted it to not just be like your normal like skin tone. It had to be like this fleshy, blood vessels beneath the skin kind of color. And so I came back to it and hit it with more of that peach and red to just give it that fleshy, almost what's under the skin color. I wanted an eye. It was one of the second things I printed, was because I wanted to put an eye on this somewhere. And it actually ended up being a little harder than I thought it would be. I probably should have just found some material to make my own eye, but in the end, I was really happy with how it turned out. And again, I used that milliput on the outside to make the eyelid material. And then all it came down to was just painting it. The guns, I wanted the guns to be different from the overall body. Like, it was the one thing that was cared about because it was the one thing that needed to function. And so I kind of left the gun alone for the most part. And then I wanted to try something out. I had always seen the heat warped barrels on guns, and I wanted to try that because I'd never done it before. And I thought this will be awesome. Turbo Dork sent me these awesome metallic paints, and I thought I just got to get the right color and the right order. And so I started, and you start with that dark cold blue on the front of the barrel, and then you move up to a little lighter purple, and then from the purple you move to the red, and you just got to kind of do your best to I tried to keep them really wet and do like a little bit of wet blending so that it would look really smooth when it got all the way there. And it looks amazing in person. I almost feel like it must be my lighting or something like that that kind of made it not look as crisp and clean as it does, but it does. It looks amazing. I'm so happy with how it turned out. And so I did that to the flamethrower as well as the minigun, and also to like the exhaust pipes that are on the top of the unit as well. And so I liked how it looked so much that I was just like, I'm just going to put this everywhere that I can. And in the end, this is how it turned out. Now, like I said, definitely not a beautiful looking thing, but it's definitely not a poorly done thing. At least I don't think so. This is probably one of the best things that I've ever done. And it was super fun to do. And so I hope that you guys will take the chance. Kitbash something. I know it means destroying it, but it can be so much better when you put it back together your way. And I'm curious, for those of you out there who do kitbashes, do you kitbash everything? Do you just kitbash one or two things? If you have an army, is every army unit, changed, or just the main ones, the HQ units? I'm curious to know what scale people do kitbashing, because I see videos all the time when people do it, but like, are they just showpieces, or do people actually use that for what they're putting on the table? I would love to know what you have to say and what you think of this. I mean, I tried to make it as ugly as possible. Honestly, with the legs, I was thinking about printing like 100 little human legs and just having them sticking out of the sides, and I just didn't get there. But what would you have done to make it better, and what have you done? I would love to hear about your kitbashes, and especially the ugly ones. And I hope that this gave you some ideas. I hope that you take this and run with it and make your tabletop experience better, because that's what we're here for. And if you liked it, please like, subscribe, follow the channel. I'm just going to keep doing weird crap like this. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, it was so much fun that I'll probably just keep doing more and different things. And I'd love to hear what you'd like to see. And so drop it down in the comments below if you want. Here at Pulsegate Games, we're all about making the tabletop experience the best it can be. And when you can do something fun like this, I feel like I got to keep going. So just remember, don't spend so much time building your world or kit bashing it that you forget to spend some time in it. Until next time.